Yeah.
Sorry, some technical difficulties, I guess.
Tammy, we're live.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking, as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras. Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting. At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Okay, and again, we're in this hybrid setting, so I do have to go through some instructions again before I call the meeting to order and do a roll call. So to view the meeting, and this is for online access, to view the meeting and provide live oral testimony, please use the link at the top of the agenda. You'll be asked to enter your name. The board requests that you enter your full name, but you may use a pseudonym or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You'll be asked for an email address, and you may fill in this field with any entry in email format. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about the agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. For phone access, if you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the Zoom phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you will be promoted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you can indicate that you want to testify by entering star and then 9 on your phone keypad. After entering star and 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, you may unmute yourself by pressing star and 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star 6 again to unmute yourself. For both internet and phone access, when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If the connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specified time and date. This information will be provided on the board's website, and the link is provided on the agenda. Instructions to attend the state employee virtual board meeting may be found online, and the link is provided on this agenda. So at this time, before I do the roll call, is there any testimony from the public?
Thank you, Chair. This is Johnny. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, at this time, I'll take a roll call. Let's see, Gary Miyashiro, here. John Arbles, here. Chris Lee, here. Zach Johnson, here. Alex Smith, here. Isabella Gary,
Here.
Brian Raymore is absent. Wendell Lee,
Here.
Here. Okay, meeting is called to order. So, agenda item number 2, which is my report, announcement. We have a new board member, Wendell Lee. Welcome, Wendell, to the board. We do also have another board member, Robert who is not here at the moment. Okay, moving on, agenda item number 3. Again, next agenda item, is there any public testimony at this time?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes. We do have 2 minutes from the last 2 meetings at this time, of the minutes of the July 28, 2023 meeting and the September 29, 2023 meeting. At this time, is there any discussion on the July 28, 2023 meeting? Edits, changes, revisions. Who's there?
Yeah, so Chair, I move to defer the minutes from the July 28th and the September 29th meeting to the next board meeting.
Okay. It's been moved to defer the minutes. Is there any second? Okay, seconded by Chris. At this time, I'll take the vote to defer the minutes. And just for the board members' information, I think we wanted some time to review the minutes further, and have a little bit more time to make some revisions and clarifications on those points. So at this time, I want to defer the minutes of the July 28th and September 29th meeting. Can I take the vote? Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbos,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 4, executive officer's report. At this time, is there any public testimony for this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, the executive officer's report.
We won't have the another meeting till sometimes in January, and at that time, the legislators will be meeting. And it looks like they might be going through the same thing again that we had in this year, which is the mobility issue. And so last year, this was denied by the Senate, but it passed and it went through to the basically to the House, but it did not make it also. So it looks like they might propose another legislation that might be similar to this mobility bill. So this is just for us to think on what it is that we might want to present in case it is brought to again with the legislation.
Okay, right now.
You can think about it, and then if it is again submitted or proposed, because we won't meet till sometimes in January, at least they can tell us exactly what to how to present that, or how to propose. If you guys are opposed it, or if you guys are for it, then whatever it is that we should do.
Oh, I think our stance actually was real opposed. Right, so same stance, I don't know, any discussion on that? Or any? Yeah, so I think we would, I mean, I would pick the same stance, I think that was the, yes.
So I compared the past bills with this last bill from this year, and they are different. So I'm not sure your stance to remain the same is relevant. I need you guys to really look at this bill. If there's things that are in there that you don't like and want to see amended, then that's one way to do it as well.
Okay,
Okay, to make recommendations to fix the bill. But it is different. This one was very different from the past bills. And so I really need you guys to look at it. And because if not, we're gonna have a really hard time justifying it. We can't use the same stance because it's
okay,
different.
okay, no, I have not had a chance to review the bill, so I guess we can defer that, I mean, thanks for pointing that out, I assumed it was the same one, okay, so, I guess we can defer that since, I don't know if any of you have reviewed it.
What's the bill?
Oh, still 797,
797?
HB said, yeah,
it's on your agenda.
it's on the agenda.
So if you go to the legislature webpage, you can look for that, the bill, the final draft. You can review the testimonies that were submitted by whom
Okay,
as well.
Can I ask a question?
sure,
So I know you guys were against the bill, I'm new, I was trying to understand the reasons, what were your guys' concerns, the board's concerns in the legislation?
that one was on the, mobility, and I think in general, it was, whether the department can monitor and regulate the licenses. That was the
The
overall.
ability to regulate and,
Yeah,
A lot of the bills, there's no notice, no fee.
correct.
Out of state people get into
In
that,
general.
they don't have to pay, you know.
And then I'm not sure,
big fees.
yeah, sorry, it's Leanne. You guys gotta say your name. It's Leanne.
Oh, that
Gotta
was
say
that.
people. This is Leanne Tashima. I think one of the other concerns for this past one was there was no affiliation with a firm permit to practice. Correct, if I remember correctly, that was an issue. So that they could just come in but not be attached to a firm with a permit to practice. If I remember correctly, but you guys can read the bill and see.
Okay.
Because it was very confusing.
got it, thank you very much.
Okay, the next, next line, the relating to occupational licensure.
Another one, actually, in terms of this, in case there is a bill that's being proposed, if, I don't recall anything on the minutes about, having a member, board member, being delegated to be representing the board if they wanted to go for the legislation, in support of whatever it is that's gonna be proposed. So just in case, I mean, normally executive officers are the one that actually goes, but, if you guys wanted someone to represent the board itself, that would be something that can also be discussed. So since we're in this topic,
Oh, I can be, yeah, I can represent the board, yeah.
do they have
I think we last session we had Terrence. Our attorney was very familiar with the legislative process, which, I mean, he represented us, but if there's testimony, then it would usually be the chair or. But I'll volunteer for that.
Thank you. I think in the past, we might have, this is John, in the past, we might have submitted written testimony as well. And I think that's what we kind of leaned on, last year when this bill came up, was previous, prior. Right, because the bill was similar, so if Leanne is correct and the bill is different, then, we'll look at it again this year and see what it is.
Also, can I just add, this is Leanne, that this past year they had hybrid as well, in person and virtual. So a lot of people testified virtually. Okay, however, there are some quote legislators who want testifiers in person to be there. Okay. However, if it's a, so as executive officers, we are required to prepare. But as a board member, they can't make you or you attend in person. So if someone representing the board, because of the way this bill is written or a similar bill, it's very technical, right? The nuances of life insurance practice, which we're not going to be that familiar with, and will not be able to respond to questions. That's what we're asking if the board members, anybody, because what you'll be doing is reading the board's testimony that you guys are going to be approving, right? So, and then responding to any questions they may have, whether you attend virtually or in person. So it could be anybody. Even Alex could do it.
Okay, sure. Okay,
That's because the hearings come up so quickly, yeah. You folks don't necessarily have a meeting in time, so.
okay. Well, I mean, I'll be the rep for now, I guess. I mean, we can change, right? Okay. So, yeah. Okay, thank you.
The next one is basically there was on this one here, there was a message basically warning of a deceptive solicitation basically. It looks like a solicitation is coming from a program or a board, basically saying that, they will be getting some certification saying that this person is certified, whatever it is that they'll be asking. And it looks like it's coming from one of the board or one of the program. The problem is the address they ask you to mail it to is not us. So just be very careful because people might think that it's us, the program of accountancy, not just us, but other programs as well. So this is just to make sure that we are all correct. If somebody asks you, are you guys giving people the certification? No, we don't, yeah, unless they qualify, of course. But the address that we give here is basically it's not us. So just we are aware of that.
Yeah, this is Gary. So this is, just to clarify, this is being sent to all PVL, professional vocational licensees of DCCA.
It's being sent to just anybody, any public, any members of the community. Some of them are receiving the solicitation, thinking that it's coming from one of us, the board.
Right, but mostly licensees, just, or
Yes.
just any.
That's anybody. We don't have to do
Okay,
this.
okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's me, I guess. So, it's a very good standing. What you need for a.
Oh, I see, for general
identity.
businesses, I
Correct.
see, okay,
So that's what this is in effect, for, not your license.
okay.
So those applying maybe for a firm permit to practice or a pharmacy or other entities, they're gonna be affected by this. Because you're gonna be asked to pay this money and they'll get the certificate of good standing, which is not gonna be valid. So this is the warning. There are a lot of scam things out there.
Okay. Okay, is that it? Moving on to agenda item number 5, license renewal. Before we get to this agenda item, is there any testimony from the public?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, so agenda item number 5, we have the license renewal coming up for 2023 for all CPA licenses. On the agenda, this was a topic maybe on kind of segueing off the last meeting. And maybe look, there's been some pipeline issues, obviously, across the nation with CPAs. That's been the main topic of discussion across, CPA, NASBA. And we talked last time in our meeting about some states looking for alternatives for licensure, which again, is kind of out of the box a little bit, but looking at some pipeline ideas. So, what I did last time, after last meeting, it was kind of like, what alternatives could we have for licensure? And, you know, obviously nationwide, we have the standard. But just to brainstorm, one of the hurdles of licenses across the state is the 30 credit hours. That's been a hot topic, I think, across the nation, and, you know, a lot of times it's come back to discussion on, oh, the 30 credit hours is not even accounting related or industry related. So I thought of some questions and looking at college credit hours and if there was any alternatives. And one thing was, well, we all take CPEs as current licensees, you know, could CPE, and that was certified CPE qualify, or somehow be translated to during hours. And, you know, maybe even replacing the 30 hours with 30 months of experience, an additional 30 months of experience, in addition to the 24 months I think we have on record now. So I just had some, you know, ideas out there. Again, we did talk about that if we do change it, you know, obviously it's going to create some waves. I think a couple of states out there, if I remember, Minnesota and I think there's another state out there that tried to do some legislation to change it. But it is going to, you know, obviously cause some legislation because it is in our HRS. It's not just the rules. But I don't know. I just kind of maybe wanted to put the board to think about something like that. Just because we are, or nationwide, we're having that issue. I do. I think we may all know, if you don't, the ICPA did introduce the ELE program. I think it was Education, Learn and Experience, where they coordinated with some college, I think it was Tulane University, to knock down the 30-hour requirement and the experience required to make it easier for candidates to get licensed. So that's an idea out there, which it is. But, you know, we all know the college costs. That's not been the prohibiting or the obstacle or the hurdle for a lot of pipeline candidates. So I was just kind of brainstorming some ideas, and whether we're open to going down that route. But I just wanted to throw that out there that as a board, I'm not sure where you guys are as far as discussion. I know we had some discussion last time, but any discussion on that?
Hi, Wendell, I'm an instructor at UH West Milwaukee, and I also help teach the CPA course there. We have 200 students in accounting, larger than Manoa. We are the pipeline now for Bishop Street when it comes to accountants. Our goal is to provide CPA candidates and have them become CPAs. What we're finding is we're losing that battle. And I can tell you that the students from West Oahu were like me 40 years ago, first to go to school, working 40 hours a week at retail or at the hotels in Aulani, most of them, to get their education. When they get their job after they graduate to a firm, government, or whoever it may be, they're struggling. One, to find time to take the CPA exam. 2, 30 hours extra credits that they cannot afford. So they end up going to the community college and taking junk classes, which have nothing that improves their ability to become a better CPA. And next is, if you can pass a national exam, whether you have 0 credits or an extra 100 credits, to me, you pass the standard. And that standard, as professors, we take mock exams now. So we know what our kids are going to encounter. And I don't know if you guys have tried it. The rigor of the exams is much higher than when I took it a long time ago. So I got my CPA before I got my master's. And it didn't prevent me becoming, I think, a pretty decent CPA. Being a CPA is an entry-level profession that your parents don't have a lot of money just to pay college, to back you up, and et cetera. I really want to implore on the board that let's really think about this hurdle that we're creating. That is really, to me, not necessary anymore. Yes, because a long time ago when I was at the big firms, it was everybody get their master's, that's all we're gonna hire is master's folks. And they don't do that anymore because the basic education and the pipeline have dictated where we need to go. And so what the firms have done is we educate our staff to be great CPAs. And so I just kind of bring that as my monologue, if you will, of what I'm experiencing in education. And I think we're doing ourselves a disservice. This is antiquated, and that the standard is so much higher now. These kids can pass the exam and get to work and make a career. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, I don't have the time. 30 credits is a lot. It's like almost a master's. And maybe I get 1 or 2 kids out of that 40 or 50 who graduate that will go for the master's to get it. The rest just kind of go up. So I just implore the board to think about it. That's my perspective. I'm a new member, so I apologize if I'm, but I thought I'd just bring that perspective from the
No,
education
yeah.
standpoint.
No, thanks, Wendell. This is Gary, Chair speaking, which is, I totally, kind of I'm along those lines, which is why I kind of brainstormed some alternatives. I also have staff that are working towards that requirement. And I ask them, when you take these extra 30 credits, what do you do? Like you're in my office full time. When do you take these? Well, it's online classes at night. And I said, so what does that entail? Maybe attending a class, then taking an online exam. And they said, yes. I said, wait a minute, that's kind of like what we do for CPE, right? All of us who are licensed, we attend seminars, but we also do online CPE, which we either watch or read online. We pick an exam at the end. If we pass, we get the credit. So that could be something that, we could look at CPE as being qualified for, the hours. Obviously it would be some kind of equivalency to an educational CPE hours. But the other thing that I kind of was looking at is experience, right? I go back to the previous licensing that we had. It wasn't where the 30-hour requirement wasn't there, but an extra experience requirement was there. And we had to go an additional 2 years, 2.5 years of experience through a certified by licensed CPA and we would get licensed. So there would be an undergraduate, extra experience, obviously there's the exam, and then we would get certified. So and when I thought about it, it's not unlike what that was the ICP is doing with the ELE, right? It's educate, learn, experience. So I found it kind of curious that the experience thing came back into the fold, right? And they're still not, backing up on the 30 credit hour requirement, but I don't know. I pose a question. I think working for a firm an extra 2.5 years maybe is a little bit more valuable than and more cost effective because they're getting paid, right? At the same time. So I kind of along that line. We kind of have to go through and maybe look for an alternative by going down that route though, there is a obstacle of, NASBA, right, and their mobility as far as going across states, and I think that's what it's been against it. But at the same time, we do have to perform, so.
Zach, I think the problem is, the only challenges is if you're going against the national guys, is the people who are going interstate, right? Like, that's the only challenge I think. I'm all for everything you guys said. But we do have to be cognizant of the, you know, like we talked about previously, you know, people coming in from another state, they met those requirements. You know, maybe there'd be some logistical issues for, you know, people coming over state lines. Because we're, you know, we'd be going against NASBA. But I agree with what you guys said. 100%.
So Gary, as a board, for in terms of the board itself, since you guys are technically against the mobility, wouldn't the board be pushing for the 120 instead of the trying to support the 150? I mean, I know Zach, you mentioned about the NASBA, but again, it seems like the board itself is for the 120.
Yeah.
So why does the board has to consider NASBA in the rules, basically?
Well, just for your information, I mean, it's just so that no, it's mobility, right? To practice across state lines, and having the licensees be uniform, right, across the nation. So again, right now, it's the same, right? We're standardized. But I think that is the issue, is that now we're faced against decreasing pipeline, decreasing candidates, something's, you know, not to say we gotta be at the forefront of changing this, but it's something to consider. So I throw it out there.
So this is John. I have a thought on the mobility part of it. And maybe split mobility out from what we're really talking about. So, you know, Hawaii as a state, we haven't adopted mobility, but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I think, you know, one of the parts to mobility is that we do have a pathway here for people from out of state to come through, and get licensed with our board and then come through. So it's mobility is a more of a technical issue as far as what it is, and we do still have a lot of out of state people that are licensed in the state of Hawaii. Somewhere close to like 28%, 26 or 28% is what it is as far as out of state. So that does exist, and those people are already here operating under our current system. So mobility is something separate. But I do agree with Wendell as far as the reduction of to back to 120 credit, 120 credit hours, because that is kind of what the prescribed degree is from university, right? That's what you do to get your accounting degree. An additional 30, and why we keep saying additional is because that's not really part of the bachelor's. That's an additional amount. So the preparation for your bachelor's when you come out should be that. I would fully agree with that. Whether or not that creates mobility issues for anybody else in any other state, that's up to them. I think for us, we got to do what's best for our state as we look at this. I do disagree a little bit with Gary as far as continuing professional education. I think using the CPE credits is a little different because it's not as regulated as college courses are, obviously, right? So there's a little bit more of a stricter requirement. Continuing professional education already also assumes that you are licensed in some capacity and that they're giving you specified information. So I don't know if I would agree with the CPE one. I do like it as an idea, but I would definitely lean on more experience, because I think working for a public accounting firm, maybe not even just somebody that is that currently has a permit to practice, but having that experience maybe be in public accounting as an alternative is something that, you know, could be considered as an option. So outside of private industry, you do your whatever months in public. I think that would be just another idea to throw.
Okay, this is Gary, that's why I'm not turning this into a total debate, but agenda item 5B, it has the general renewal information and requirements. That's for our licensees, and I don't know if you all looked at the posting on the website, but since it's a licensing year, there is a PDF to talk about the CPE. That's out there, and that, and so I segue right into what John was saying, because there is a chart on that PDF that answers a question: what type of activity can be considered CPE, and what constitutes one CPE hour? And there's a table there that converts college courses, or academic credit hours to CPE. So I'd say maybe go the other way and say these CPEs then equate to one college credit hour, right? Anyway, so I just say that it goes one way, and that's on our website, right? Because it's kind of reminding all the licensees, hey, your license is coming up, don't forget about, you gotta get CPE to qualify for the license. And so we do have that PDF out there that says it's not only CPE, you can get academic hours to qualify for the CPE for license. So, again, just as again, not to debate anything, but it's just an idea. So I'm not advocating to replace CPE with the colleges, but no.
No.
I'm just saying that there might be some.
Don't worry about it.
To equate it.
Still gotta get that degree.
Okay, so anyway, so I touched on that 5B, because there is the general licensing and renewal requirements that are out there on the website. So just FYI. Again, there's no action item on this agenda item, but I wanted to bring up that there is maybe a movement in place, or not in place, but starting, that I may start to push maybe a little bit. Okay, moving on, or any further?
What's your responses to these questions?
Okay.
And then there's somebody, an inquiry from Audrey Oppie.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot about 5A.
Can you go?
5A, numero IV, sorry about that. The inquiry from Audrey Abe, I don't know if y'all got that memo or email, or did an email? Right, thank you for that. So there has, well, I think agenda item 5A and the first three items, I think that's just more of a discussion. Item 5A IV from Audrey Abe.
Can you see if she's here? Audrey Abe, if you're here, can you raise your hand? Move your cursor on. If she's not here.
I don't see her.
Is there any public?
What was that? She
It's there.
Okay. Let's see, so you all have that email from Audrey Abe. Her, I guess I can just read the email, from Audrey Abe sent on October 30, 2023. So I currently have an active CPA license and was in the process of taking my CE courses due by 12/31/2023. I noticed that starting November 27, 2021, there's a requirement that a minimum of 20 hours need to be earned within each calendar year. I have not taken any courses in 2022. Unfortunately, I was planning to complete the 80-hour requirement this year. My apologies for this oversight. Are there any options to meet the requirements for renewal this year? There's any discussion on this, and is she, I don't know, is it just a statement or she's asking for a?
She's asking for response. What options does she have? because it's renewal, she has to renew by December 31st of this year. And it says she must have 20 credits, the first biennium, at least 20, and at least 20 for the second biennium. She can have more than 20 on the first, but she must have at least 20, and she doesn't have that.
Chair, this is John. Can I make a motion to move to executive session so we can discuss the legal implications of her request?
Okay, can I have a motion to move into executive session?
So move.
Second,
I'll take it.
Alex, second. It's been moved and second to move into executive session. Take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbos.
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary.
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Okay, it's been moved to move into executive session. Okay, are we back?
No.
Okay, we're back in general session. As a reminder, we're on agenda item number 5A, Roman numeral IV. The agenda item is an inquiry from Audrey Abe. And as a response to Ms. Abe's inquiry, as a board, we recognize that the issue raised in the email. We also realized that the rule became effective in 2021 and effective during this biennium. And we also understand the licensees will need time to comply with these requirements. And we encourage all licensees to be mindful of these requirements going forward. So, you know, again, we recognize that licensees need time to comply, so effectively we can reply to the candidate accordingly. All right, moving on to agenda item number 6. NASBA candidate care quarterly report. Again, is there any public testimony related to this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay. You all have received the NASBA candidate care report, July 2023 to September 2023. Any comments, questions, or inquiries on this? I think it's for our information only as far as the data, data on the candidate testing. All right. Moving on to agenda item number 7. CPA scores and extension requests. At this time, is there any public testimony on this?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, the request is from Jenna Romberger. Her section reg expired 11/30/2023. Is requesting an extension. I open this up to any discussion by the board members. The extension is requested for 12 months.
She say why?
She does. We have a letter that was submitted. And I guess was referring to that was announcement that they are moving to 30 months. I guess understanding that maybe it was automatic. But I think as far as we're concerned, we had a discussion last meeting that it was not automatic. And that we would consider extension requests how we were in the past on a case-by-case basis. So that's kind of where we are.
So then based on her explanation as to why she didn't study leave.
Yes, she did explain why. Yeah, she did.
So,
She wasn't prepared
yeah,
for
okay.
that.
Okay. So are you going to grant her 6 months, 18 months extension?
Oh, yeah, so any discussion in that, I mean, I was
Case by case basis.
to the board, if we are probably leaning towards an extension of 12.
Make sure you request it for 1 month extension.
12 months right
Yeah.
now. Yeah. I mean, I think based on what we've been doing, some of the extensions were basically 12 months, and we've been approving them, especially aligning with, I think, the last discussion where we're kind of leaning towards the 30 months, and that is recommended. So, anybody opposed? Okay. Based on, General Berger's request, can I have a motion to grant an extension for 12 months on a credit for rec?
So move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can I have a vote? Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbos,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Don't forget to say your name when you make the motion.
Oh,
Okay, thank you.
well,
It was.
oh, wait.
And also move.
Correct.
You know what, because we also have a new secretary, so she's not very familiar with
Okay,
everything.
Got it.
I seconded
Zach,
Zach.
reminder.
All right, agenda item number 8, applications. Prior to, for this agenda item, is there any public testimony in relation to agenda item number 8?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, can I have a motion to move into executive session again to discuss the application?
This is John, so moved.
This is Chris, second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to move into executive session. I'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbos.
Yes.
Chris Lee.
Yes.
Zach Johnson.
Yes.
Alex Smith.
Yes.
Isabella Gary.
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Okay. Motion approved. Executive session. Okay, are we there? All right. Christine, any discussion?
Okay, we, this is relating to eight C. License application.
Somebody, an applicant is attending as well. Okay, the HDMG.
Everybody there? All right, okay, welcome back to the general session, agenda item number 8, applications. 8A, ratification of CPA permits to practice. We have a list of eight permits. I have a motion to approve.
This is John, I'll move.
This is Chris, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the ratification of CPA permits to practice. Take a vote, Gary Manchiro, yes. John Arbels,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary.
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Um, Approval of trade names. That was included in that motion.
You didn't see that, so no.
Okay, let's do the motion again. I'm sorry.
Just do another motion. It's okay.
Can I have a motion to approve the ratification of CPA permits to practice and approval of firm and trade names?
This is John, I'll move.
This is Chris, I'll second.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbels.
Yes.
Chris Lee.
Yes.
Zach Johnson.
Yes.
Alex Smith.
Yes.
Isabella Gary.
Yes.
And Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 8B. CPA sponsor agreements to approve. Can I have a motion to approve the list with the exception of MC Group Hawaii?
This is John, I'll move.
This is Chris, I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the CPA sponsor agreements excluding MC Group Hawaii Inc. Can I take a vote? Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbels.
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to approve, MC Group and the CP sponsor agreement, with Gary Miyashiro abstaining?
This is Chris, so moved.
Alex, I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded, we get a vote, John Arbels, yes. Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary,
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8C, CPA license applications. Can I have a motion to approve these applications?
Wendell, so move.
This is Chris, I'll second.
Okay, we move the second to approve the CPA license applications. Take a vote, Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbels,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
Isabella Gary.
Yes.
Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Okay, agenda item number 9. Oh, now we're on number 9. Any public testimony on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, the Regulated Industry Complaints Office, submitting a list of advisory committee members. Can I have a motion to approve the list of advisory committee members?
As amended.
As amended.
President Gary.
Isabella.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Alex, second. Take a vote. Gary Miyashiro, yes. John Arbels,
Yes.
Chris Lee,
Yes.
Zach Johnson,
Yes.
Alex Smith.
Yes.
Isabella Gary, Wendell Lee.
Yes.
Alright. Okay, we are at the end of our meeting. The next meeting will be January 26th, 2024. Is the King Kalakal conference room the right place? I mean, are you guys equipped for the everything there? Is that gonna be
You can
good?
direct that there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, based on that. Okay, other than that, meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Thanks.